It's actually not even a 720. It's been a lie this whole time. It's a 540. If you're doing Tachi Gigas, you don't actually need 2 ups for the 720 motion. You are doing the first circle and then you end in either left or right, whatever completes that 540. There we go. If you look at my inputs, I got a left, kind of see it down there. I got a left, a down, a right, up, left, down, right. No up needed. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Other than you want to have a super jump when you do a 720 or a 540 with HUGO. The super jump is what makes it much easier. HUGO has the longest super jump in the game. I think it's 8 frames. I forget. That's it. I guess one more thing on that is once you super jump, that means you have 8 frames to hit left, down, and right, or right, down, and left. I do it counterclockwise. That's just been always how I've done it as far as the 720 input. So yeah, it doesn't sound so bad when you put it that way. Oh, I gotta do just 3 inputs in 8 frames? Not so bad, right? Dang it. Moving on. Speaking of supers, Hammer Frenzy is just better than 720. It took me 10 years to arrive at this firm conclusion, but Hammer Frenzy just better. So let me just talk about the 720 itself. And as far as megaton press, don't even worry about it. There's some matchups you can do some cool things with it. I think it's reasonable against Oro, maybe Ibuki. It actually works against Ken's EX Tatsu, but I still think Hammer Frenzy is better in that matchup. Anyways, 720 is really fun. It's super cool. It's like one of the selling points of playing this character. It feels so good to do it. Even if it's not even like Tachi Gigas, if it's like parry 720, that feels good. But that pretty much is the best way to do a 720 in my opinion. Parry something that you know 720 is going to punish. So you know it's going to work. Wake Up 720 is great when it works, but you're guessing. You don't know if it's going to work or not. It has an impact. It influences how your opponent behaves. You know, they might start doing something like jump back heavy kick on your wake up, which you could parry this. It's pretty cool. And then clap it. That's really great. So the 720 facilitates that even more. How do you do it? That's awesome. It's like a one-shot deal. You might get 2 per match if you're lucky. In some ways, yeah. If you're lucky, you get 2 per match. Because either you're guessing with it or you're doing a parry into it, or maybe you do something like dash in 720, or you punish with it. Those opportunities don't always happen, and that really is the main thing about Hammer Frenzy, is you get a lot more opportunity out of it. The knockdown of 720 doesn't give you a whole lot either. It's like between clap or 360, and it's much better if you can get something like a jump in or clap and ultra throw. I guess you can meat squasher there too a little bit, but none of it's really like real, you know? But if you can be close to your opponent, you get a good meaty splash, or you can actually ultra throw them, you're close enough to ultra throw them, or you can get a meaty clap. Those are the 3 main things I think with HUGO to focus on, and 720 just doesn't allow you to do that. The knockdown of 720. I do think it's good in some matchups. I think it's okay against Yun, because he has low health, but I still think Hammer Frenzy is better for various reasons. It's okay against Yang, probably more than it is Yun for the low health. I do not recommend at all playing it against Q, because 720 against Q with taunts, trash. I think at like the mid-level, you can use it against Urian to get out of unblockables, but you can also use Hammer Frenzy for the same reason. Maybe against Akuma, because he has low health. But again, Hammer Frenzy's better. And one of the problems is that Akuma has Toward Medium Punch, that's throw involved accidentally. So that kind of sucks. It just feels like the more you get better at Third Strike, the less opportunity you're going to see with 720. But you'll see a lot more opportunity with Hammer Frenzy. And then, Hammer Frenzy, there's ways to use it in combination with the Super Jump Cancel. And with 720, you're not really getting that. Alright, anyways, point number 2, which is Hammer Frenzy is better than 720. The knockdown is just incredible. You get a knockdown, you get a lot more stun, you get corner carry. Now, I've done a lot of research on each of the knockdowns for each character and what their options are. We'll just go over Ken. So just for an example, you knock down Ken, you dash up 1 time, and then a splash will hit sort of meaty. But what's good about this setup is that if they choose to uppercut, you can do nothing and you can still block their reversal. If I do a splash, the uppercut will hit me, but if I do nothing, I can block the uppercut. So what I like to do is jump in and then throw tech. And that should also punish if they try to parry the splash in the air. That should also punish that. So yeah, that's just way better than the 720 knockdown. And probably the next thing I'm going to do is research how I can get meaty universal overhead after the Hammer Frenzy knockdown and see what else I can branch off of that. Because there's probably ways you can do universal overhead or giant palm bomber. And then if you're in that range, you can also do ultra throw. So those are also really, really strong options. This is way better than being around this area. Yeah, once again, 720 is good if you're going to kill them with it. The Hammer Frenzy has so many more branches that it can do. You can use more of your meter for EX clap, for EX lariat. But yeah, number three is universal overhead and Hammer Frenzy. You can't do this with 720, of course. So at a range, you can universal overhead and link Hammer Frenzy. That should hit 6 times. Can't do that with 720. Giant palm bomber into Hammer Frenzy. If you hit them crouching with the heavy clap, you can hold it for a long time. Light punch clap, not so much. You kind of got to let go of it pretty soon. One of the matchups that is really troubling is against Urian. And you kind of, in some ways, you're forced to just deal with this fireball. And he's building meter while he's throwing fireballs. So you want to wait to prevent that. What you can actually do at some ranges is clap it, and then buffer that into Hammer Frenzy. Let me get a little bit further away. And if you do it correctly, it'll punish that. So that addresses that tool from Urian. He's going to have to do more jump heavy kicks. Yeah, Hammer Frenzy. You can also do it off of crouching light kick. I've been checking dashes like Makoto and doing crouching light kick super. So unless they dash up and down parry, it's going to hit them. It's really sweet. Of course, you can also do 2 lights in a Hammer Frenzy. It's very good. All right, so that's 5 so far. Got the 720 input. Hammer Frenzy is better than 720. Universal overhead and Hammer Frenzy. Clapping a Hammer Frenzy versus Urian Fireball. And just in general, clapping the Hammer Frenzy. Which you can do heavy punch and the light punch whether or not they're standing. That one always works. It always links them to each other. Does a butt ton of stun. But if you do hit them crouching, you can do 3 claps into Hammer Frenzy. That should hit 8 times if I did it right. Yeah, that's a ton of stun. If the next thing you do is successful, you will kill them. You will likely win the match. And that's better than 720. That's better than 720. It's just facts, as the kids would say.